Hello YouTube and welcome back to the Scrabble Players Championship coverage. Yeah, what to say? My tournament is over. I don't know why anyone is still watching. It's ended. It's over. It's done. But yeah, basically hit rock bottom last game. I was just like sobbing to myself in the corner and um yeah, I wonder if there's even footage of that because I was in a part of the playing room where like the camera that was just showing the playing room was pretty close to. I did notice myself a couple times rewatching the stream. I wonder if there's footage of me in this state. But yeah, so my next opponent was Frank, and like there was no better opponent really to face in the emotional state I was in. Just simply because Frank is such a empathic and kind human being. Um, we play all the time online and played him a decent amount in person, and it was good to play him again. But I mean, under these circumstances, I was just over it all. He asked if I needed some time, and I was like, no, let's just play. I like Scrabble. Let's play Scrabble. Um, and I was first this game, and I exchanged six, keeping an E with this rack. So Frank to go first, and he played food. I drew into a bingo. Of Slither, and I guess I just missed. Maybe he played food over here. If I had Slither, how much would this score? Yeah, okay, so this is what happened. I'm pretty sure. So I opened with food, I play Slither for 79. Plays Mopey for 36, hooking the Y onto Slither. I played Grew, keeping FWX. That's a very interesting, awkward pull, but I thought getting rid of the most constants I could, which was 3, and taking away the L column spot was my best bet. I don't really have much in store for next turn. If I play few here, I can draw into Wax and Gox, and so if this spot does stay open, it could be better. It could be better to play few, so let's give it a little simulation. Of course, the main attraction of Grew is that it gets rid of the most consonants possible, but after few, I might have noticed this play and noticed that I could draw into Grawlix, Grawlix, but that there would be no spot for it. But yeah, if this spot wasn't so likely to be taken next turn, I think few would be a very viable alternative, threatening some X plays. So Grew comes down. Agio for Frank, getting rid of some vowels in his own G. And here I draw a blank, but no vowels, so I just play Waxy. I could also play Fawny. I could also play Niffy. I don't think I saw Niffy. But I ended up playing Waxy, just hoping to bingo next turn with my CFN blank leave. I get a decent amount of bingos from C8 spot to the G as well, and Grew. But Fawny is an interesting alternative, not going for bingos straight away, just keeping more balance, I guess, just 2 constants instead of 3, and hoping to just drop the X next turn and score some points. If I draw an O, I have Ox for 26. If I draw a U or an I get Sox and XU or XI. It's not terrible. Yeah, I went with Waxy. Niffy is a good way to score points, but I think the leave is just really bad. There's no need for it. So Waxy comes down. Frank plays MU. MU. How would you pronounce that word? In French, it's immer. but I'm sure there's some proper way to pronounce it. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, I hit rock bottom last game, and I just didn't really care much anymore, I guess. I mean, I did want to win the game, but I didn't want to just like make all the best moves all the time. I saw that I could play Pfeiffer here, and that was probably the best move. I didn't see Fen at all, actually. That's definitely the best move. And instead of just Fen, I kept the F and the E and played Hun for 6. And I knew this wasn't the best move. I knew this was a mistake. But I just liked it. And the reason that I played this word is for very specific reason that I now notice might not be possible. Yeah. The reason I made this play is because I thought I was going for the word cornflower through the OWE, which is not possible because I have an E. Yeah, okay. Well, that shows the state of mind I was in. I needed to play the E and the N off if I wanted to go for cornflower. Of course, Hun doesn't just fish for cornflower. I hit a lot of bingos on the 10 row and on the 2 row as well. But yeah, that's very funny. I believe this is, yeah, this is what happened. I thought I was fishing for a 10-letter word, and I actually wasn't. Well, there you go. Not the right move, but I thought. Yeah. Hilarious. Okay. So I play Hun. Purposeful mistake, but not as purposeful as it seems. Frank plays Avo. I draw D. So he blocks cornflower anyway. Even though I wasn't going for it, I play cornfed. He complimented me on a nice find. I said thank you. And then he hit me with station for 84. Or actually for 81. So I think the second T was blank. Hopefully that remains true for the remainder of the game. So here I played Fut. I could play Hurdle. I don't think I should play this. Well, maybe I should actually. Actually, bingo's a ton. If I draw just one vowel, I'm very likely to bingo on the N column after UH. So that's pretty good. With the scores close, I prefer to play Fut and just keep things tight and under control. But I can see the I mean, obviously see the appeal of it because I say like 20 times a video. There I go again. Self-awareness is bad. Yeah. 01 is probably the best play. And hurdle to score points, but set up some hooks. Does hurdle take a D? We can check these things. Is it hurdled or is it thurled? It's hurdled, right? Give me a sec. Or maybe it's Thorold. I always get those confused. So anyways, I played Fut. Yeah, Hurdled is good. So yeah, Hurdle is very dangerous play. Frank just drops the K with Kif. And this is a very scary play, because now he's the one fishing. And I don't know if he has something close like ING. I don't know if he just has a good rack that doesn't actually go anywhere right now. So this rack, this position becomes very bizarre, because I don't want to play this move of ERE. Like, I want anything but to play this move. But I also feel like if he has an ING close to ING rack and I don't play ERE, I'm just depriving myself of a ton of equity. But retie is actually totally okay, I guess. Like, what's the alternative though? Because so many of these plays open the 12 row. Yeah, I don't really know. It's interesting. Yeah, I didn't really want to think here, and I didn't want to make too much of an inference, but I knew that there was a very likely chance that he was just going to bingo after this play that I was feeding right into what he was hoping would happen. And of course, this isn't the only bingo spot on the board, but it's going to be by far the easiest to hit. So instead of a bingo, I do get hit pretty hard with A-sides, and I imagine that Frank might have just drawn the Z. So I was happy to see that instead of a bingo, because ADEIS probably had another consonant there. Very good lead. So very likely to have bingoed. So unfortunately, I don't draw into a bingo myself, and I missed this play of Trill. I'm down by a whole bunch. I need to play Trill here. LERT, yeah. So I played TIL for 10 in this spot, I guess. Interesting. Today I learned. Yeah, I don't even remember making this play. Shows how checked out I was. But yeah, the idea is to try and create a lane down here that's somewhat hard to block. But Trill is just so good because it doesn't... It's like a completely different idea. The idea of Trill is, of course, I'm leaving ET, that's good. But I'm scoring 24 points. And by scoring 24 points, the game is still close. If I'm only scoring 10 points, Frank has already a 30-point lead on his belt, basically. And he doesn't really need to continue to demonstrate that he's winning. Whereas after Trill, 10 points, one bad rack, and that lead is evaporated. So Trill, by far best. I don't know how I missed that. Well, I do know how, but it's not an excuse. So then Jail comes down for 34, taking the spot I should have taken. I draw the Q, and I'm in huge trouble. I just have to drop the Q here. There's nothing better. And he plays Vast. Just getting rid of that bingo lane, which isn't actually a bingo lane because it was the last S. So just scoring points is what he was actually doing. And yeah, I drew into this, I think, and I played Beg for 17. Again, I'm hoping to get something along this row, but game is very likely to be lost. The other idea behind Beg is to maybe try and open some space up here to try and create another threat. But I think I'm a turn too late for that sort of idea. Frank plays Bop. He's up 64 points. He doesn't have to worry about much. And I draw into this rack. And I play TO, or TE for 11. Where do I play TE for 11? Here. So the idea behind this move is to try and create a more dangerous threat on this row here, and that the fact that there are 3 ends out, I can still threaten to hit this G, the ing word. So that was the idea. I knew that it wasn't a very good idea because I'm leaving 6 in the bag, so Frank doesn't have to empty the bag next move. So yeah, that was my idea, but it was pretty shallow, I think. And I did do some calculation that if Frank had a 6 tile play here of like ending, I think I would win if I bingoed. Was that true? No, I don't think that was true. Oriel. If I get reoiling here. Six, 9, 18. Yeah, I'm actually losing. I think what I calculated is that after, what is it that I calculated? I don't remember. I calculated something for sure. I just overlooked something as well. And Cinder comes down, which is just good enough to win no matter what. But I do actually draw into reoiling. So I get reoiling down and I lose by 10 points. So yeah, not much to be said about this game other than I thought I was being cute with this. Totally didn't realize that I didn't have the right letters for what I was going for. And yeah, what else to say? The game was pretty much over when I missed Trill on this particular turn. And I lose by 10. So kind of a sad game. I was definitely very sad during this game, but I was pretty much, I don't know, done with the tournament as a whole. I obviously don't like to lose anyway, but I wasn't super affected by this. Anyways, let's move on to round 24, which is against Joey Mallick. So Joey has had a very good record against me for quite some time. And this was a good opportunity for me to try and hammer into that record a little bit. So it was good because since I was disconnected from the event that I was playing into, because I could no longer win it, I was putting all of my attempts to win this game in a smaller box. Just improve your overall record against Joey. And that will be good. And I was actually first, and I started with the bingo of Meiotic. I decided, what was my thinking? I decided to play Meiotic here because I knew it didn't take an S. The word in there is semiotic. There are 2 placements, M on the double and C on the double. Oh, committees. Didn't even think of that. I was almost certain that meiotics wasn't good. So by playing it here instead of here, there's, let's get rid of that. So here are the 2 placements, or not. Having trouble here with Quackle. I hate that Quackle doesn't like vertical openings. So annoying. So the idea is that after this meiotic, board is more likely to be open long term. Plays from the sea, going eastward, potential bingos coming down, overlaps that might open the top left, just a whole bunch of stuff. Whereas after this meiotic, it's a bit less likely that anything will happen from the sea because it's not as good score-wise. And it also favors some overlaps, which will further constrict things. So that's why I like this placement of meiotic. Here, Joey plays Weevil, 24. And I noticed the Y hook for Weevily, which I hope to draw. Here I just played Diorama. He gave me some more points for it. I was already looking to play that before he made his play, so it looked clear. And here Joey played Eulogy, 28. I continued with Canes, keeping Zit. So my idea here was to set up my my Z. So there's some really good plays in this position. And if you look at some of the options, you wonder why I played Canes when I have Zions for 54 available, which I saw. I have Kites, which just keeps a better leave. And I have just a bunch of better leaves available to me. And I played Canes because this is a nice, cute little spot. 2J, only 2 spots available to overlap. And so if I redraw another A, I will just draw into 64 points a large percentage of the time. Tank is a cool option to set up an S, but it's likely Joey has an S at this point, so that's sort of counterproductive, I think. But it is a very aggressive play and can work out a lot of the time. I also noticed that I was close to something like Yuts, so if I drew a U instead of an A, I could actually potentially play Yuts for 48. And that would get me out, and then I'd Cuz as a backup. So a lot of the draws that I get after Canes are just very, very good. Now Zek is 32 points and keeps a leave that bingos 70% of the time on this board. So it's really hard to say no to that play. It's probably the best play, but I appreciated the beauty of my find instead. Of course, getting rid of the S, not very good, and depending on an A was probably not very good either, in comparison to just bingoing 70% of the time. But yeah, Canes was the option. And next, Rumor was played by Joey for 16, so he drew 2 more U's after getting rid of 1. Very unfortunate for him. And next, I draw into this rack, and now I have Yuts for 48. But Iodize had better equity. I wasn't sure which play had better equity, but it's also good to block this R because I am ahead by 77 points here. So unfortunately, I don't get to score a lot of points with my Z, but yeah, this also creates a lot of play on the eighth row. So yeah, I saw that my lead was kind of dissipating, and this is just proof that Canes is probably not the optimal play, and that Zek is optimal. And I should actually go back and mention that Zek is probably optimal. Bingo. So sometimes when you make setups and your opponent counters that setup with their own aggressive play, it kind of ruins the potential, and that's why certain setups are just not worth making, even if your numbers, if you keep on with the setup, are better than the numbers if you play something else. That's not considering the fact that your opponent has a move to make and can make something happen that you might have to address or want to address. So Iodize comes down, Joey plays Frank. And here I played Fast. Oops. 1S. So I played fast here for 41, just to take out this really dangerous scoring spot with iodized, iodizer, and iodizes. And I could just play Fa or Layout, and Oust actually has better equity. Interesting. So maybe Oust was better to scores 9 fewer, but it does the same thing as Fast with keeping a much more workable leave of AFL, where I can score next turn, I can block next turn. It's just a lot more. It's a lot more flexible. So I think the idea of scoring as much as possible is pretty good, but Oust could be a nice counter to that. But maybe it's just sacrificing too many points. So Fast comes down. Now this overlap spot is finally taking PAH, 33 points. It doesn't actually do anything. So here I draw three, three L's, so 2 more L's than what I had. And I was trying to figure out if Yule or Yell was better. I wasn't really sure. LLOR appears to be the better static leave, but that doesn't mean much on a very specific board. I think keeping the balance of vowels and consonants might just be way more important here, and indeed it is. I think I looked up how many vowels were left. 10, 13, 16 vowels to a lot of consonants, so decided to part with the extra L and play Yell instead of Yule. So Yell comes down, and this actually gives Joey a bingo of elephant. And what is the elephant in the room? It is this play of elephant for 80, and I'm suddenly only up 18 points with the very bad rack of EELORU. And I felt my best option was just to play Oriole. There's already this O12 spot that can be very, very dangerous. You could score pretty easily here. There's also the elephant hook, the S, where you can score very well. So, of course, I was not wanting to open this A12 spot because it's even more dangerous than these other two spots. But this was the best way to get rid of as many of the bad tiles as possible. So that's what I do. I play Oriole, and Joey just plays Pong. Oh, apparently that's not what happened. What does it say? Could he not have a P? P, P. Oh, I think... Wait. Ah, okay. Oops. He played Ba, not Pa. So let's go back. This doesn't really change anything, I think. Elephant, Oriole. Yeah, I misread myself. And here he plays Pong. I was extremely fortunate that Joey drew all consonants, but on the other hand, I was also somewhat worried that the play of Pong signaled that Joey had the last blank, because often when somebody makes a 3 consonant play, it's not necessarily that they have all consonants, it's that they have 3 consonants and a blank. So it's getting a bit wary, but I was very happy to not have gotten destroyed on the A12 spot. And yeah, still feeling like I'm losing this game at this point, even though I'm ahead by a little bit. I play Eve for 24. Yeah, what to say here? There's just all the options are pretty terrible. I considered playing OG, but the problem with OG, even though it does get rid of the O12 spot, is that it protects the elephant spot unless I play OG'd after drawing a D or he plays OG'd. So, although OG'd is 21 points and does block elephants maybe next turn, I'd probably want to do better than that to maintain the pressure in this game. So I decided to play Eve for 24. I hadn't seen it until pretty late in my think, and I decided it was the best way to balance. The G is really bad, but I can potentially use it on O12. And at this point, I really want to start clamping down on things and just hoping that the unseen letters, the bad ones, keep on appearing on Joey's rack, if indeed he has the blank, preventing him from bingoing. So luckily for me, Joey drew the Q, one of the worst tile, of course, in the bag, and actually rids the threat by himself of elephants. And of course, I'm up 8 points, but I'm still kind of worried that um, that Joey's going to bingo at some point. And yeah, this board is still pretty open. There's a lane here starting with a D or S. There are this A and this N you can play through. And then there's this Orioled spot, which I got rid of, Orioled and Orioles with Edgy. So I was very happy to score this amount of points, and now I can potentially even outrun some bingos. And actually here I was shocked to get to hear Joey exchange 6 tiles. I don't know what those tiles were, but I was really happy because that probably meant he had all consonants. And yeah, I draw into Tauntauns here. And of course, I'm still worried that he has the blank, but now that I have a 56-point lead on Joey, I can do things that potentially make it likelier for me to win the game, even if he does bingo. So I considered playing Tune, and I considered Ton and Not. And Tune seemed pretty intuitively better because it doesn't maintain a line on the 14th row. By putting the N here, I guess you can play like an AN or ON word that spans all the way to K14, but it's extremely unlikely. And after something like Ton, there's a bunch of things that you can do on the 14 row to play a 7-letter word, but looking at the unseen letters, there are no E's, no S's. These are not very good letters, despite there being a blank out. And so it really didn't seem likely that Ton was going to be a disastrous play for me. And of course, if you do play on the 14 row, that doesn't hit any great multipliers. So that makes it better for me as well, because if play does come down, I can potentially just outscore it with the play on the triple. And most importantly, there are only 4 vowels unseen out of 15 tiles, so keeping the extra O seemed extremely important. And so I played Ton over Not because Not takes an A for Nota, which is one of the vowels unseen. So I thought that this would give a little bit less back. But still kind of scary. And so Joey here plays high. And after him playing high, I'm just like, okay, I am not actually worried about him bingoing anymore. A, B, D, I, J, O, T, W, X. That's very bad for bingos. What I'm most concerned about now is a play like Axion that's going to score 1,000,000 points, or even just Jawar on the 1 row. And I might not be able to withstand those plays. They score almost as good as bingos, sometimes even better. And so I decide to empty the bag with DORRS at 1K, which I think has to be the best play. I don't know if Quackle is going to agree with me, but yeah, the threats are clear. Of course, if I draw only consonants after DORRS, I might still be in trouble, and there is probably a couple of bingos that fit still in this position, but it's far more likely that I'm going to die to a play on the 1 row. And so this outruns probably everything that isn't a bingo. It puts me up by 71 points. So even if I do draw just 3 consonants, I saw that there were spots for the J, spots for the X. That would allow me to still win the game, I think, if I drew everything. So it likes these plays. Yeah, it doesn't even, I don't think it even finds my play. So Quackle, you're worse than I am in this position. That is my determination. So Jinx comes down for 36. And actually, I know, of course, what Joey's rack was. I actually draw the blank out of the bag with another O. So that was very good. Very, very happy to see that. Jinx is the best play. I was expecting him to play that. And here I play Tanto, which is also best play. Good to go out and catch Joey with 20 points on his rack. And I win the game 402 to 339. So not a clean victory this game. thought I was in control until like this play of rumor, which was really just him dumping letters, forced me to sort of backtrack. And yeah, I drew some awkward racks, and so did he in between. But ultimately, I felt like I was in trouble, but I weathered the storm and drew the last blank, which was really lucky, really key, and I won. But yeah, of course, Canes probably wasn't correct. I should have just played Zek, kept things a bit more under control. But it was too beautiful to forego. So yeah, thanks for watching. Good that I got a win in. I've been losing a lot in these videos, and I'm sure all of my fans prefer when I win. So the least humble person ever. Yeah, so that is rounds 23, 24. I'll bring you rounds 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. Then I'll have the extra special round 20. And if I ever find round 15, I think it was, I'll obviously bring that to you guys as well. So thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.